Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video we're going through the the St Kilda Port Adelaide game. I got caught up in some stuff. This is a retake, by the way, because the first one I didn't actually flick over to the actual game, as well as it wasn't the best quality video, so decided to retake it for you guys, as I rambled on way too much about my potential trades and how I basically don't value the defenders as much to trade in the girls that are going too highly, and I'll show this in a second. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So I will quickly do a 1 minute recap rather than an 8 minute recap of what I was going through. If we look at the defenders right now, you'll see I have Evans third, Cordner and Kiri, I think 7th and 8th. Heads, I think, was 14th, and Thomas, if you actually take her game, the first game out where she blood rules, got caught on the bench, and you apply her last two games, round 2 and 3, she ends up around about here in terms of average, which is 13th, 12th. So I have 5 of the best 12. And you're thinking, okay, that's roughly the same with the midfield and the forward line, so makes sense. But look at it here. If I just maybe actually make this a little bit smaller here, you'll see. Look at the gap between heads, my worst, and the best in Stannard, who I don't really value, and Priest at 76 and Tiny Evans at 76. That's 15 points. Now think about the midfield. And it's 15 points to Gardner, but Bowers to Benici is 26 points. So there's more value in going Benici up to Bowers, who Bowers is also underperforming in my opinion anyway. So there's more value in going for Bowers, who can go up and probably post a plus 30, plus 40, as well as getting more cash gen for overall, because Freddie Davies had stopped in cash gen, was going backwards, and Benici is she's doing well, but 91 was worse than Bowers' worst game, and also Bowers has a really good matchup in Essendon, so yeah, I'm expecting Bowers to go huge. And also just helps me to get, I guess, on a better platform with all these people that have huge midfielders. And to be honest, looking at that backline, I'm not too fussed. It's not like the men's where it's like, oh, there's a 110 guy there rather than like 80 or 90s. We're talking about 10 to 15 points here rather than, 20, 30 points that you will see in the men's, etc. in these lines. So I'm not really valuable there. It's not really valuable in my opinion. And also I've got Stratton here, who's gaining cash quickly. It's got Melbourne. Who does Nanscorn have? As Nanscorn's got Fremantle. That could be an interesting game. I wonder if Nanscorn's going to be actually more valuable to keep her and get rid of Stratton. It will mean that I have to try and find a better solution to this. But getting rid of Nanscorn could, or keeping Nanscorn could be better, because she'll do a little bit better. Trying to keep this recap down a little bit, but trying to find a way to get this bench person and combine them up to Single and Phillips. I believe Single to Morrison, if we just quickly look through here, Single to Morrison is around 290-ish K. Phillips up to Two Goods is around 230k. So that's I said in the botched one, I set Stratton at 800k. I was like 120k gained after 154, 160. I think 120k is reasonable. So Stratton, that would put her around 20k or so short of Morrison and Two Good for Phillips and Single, and a bench. But you've also got Single gaining 25k per round more than Morrison, and Morrison has Port Adelaide, which will be an easy matchup, and Single has Western Bulldogs, an easy matchup. So can Single again gain 30 or 40 k on Morrison to make it available to me to get Too Good, or can Phillips go nuts against Geelong and get enough so that I can get Tor? I mean, Roberts is one that's iffy, but I think is still sitting there around the right, around about where I need her to be at, to be honest. But so it's between these. Single is definitely going up, I think, because she's playing a tagging role and there's only so much she can do. There's probably a max out of like 90 points. Phillips and Roberts are underperforming a little bit, but you've got Tor, Too Good, and Morrison to go to. So that is the more in-depth recap in the forward line, but as in what's going on in the forward line in about half the time. Anyway, so onto this game, and I'm trying to remember what I was saying in the previous video. Lambert, Smith, and Patrikios all looked almost like the same player at times, so it was hard to pick between them, but it just looked like they were dominating the game, or at least having so much of a say in the game. Lambert had 5 free kicks. I think half of them were holding the ball, half of them were high tackles. So she ended up with a +2 free kick differential. 2 goals, 2 as well for her. 95 points, 9 tackles, huge. Only 16 touches to get that, as well as Smith having 16 touches as well to get to 93. Priest, 85 would have been. She had a -8 free kick differential, so would have been a 93 without that. 20 touches for her, so she's right around it, and I need to see her CBAs, but I think she's going to be one that could streak away. She could go ridiculous and get a 90 or something like that and really gap the field, so you just got to watch nervously with Priest. I mean, if you look at her fantasy by quarter, when she was on 48 at halftime, I was like, oh no, this could be a huge score. Wardlaw got a 70 from only 10 disposals, but that's because she was in the ruck. Then you have Vesely, McDonald, Patrikios, which we talked about. Gutteridge had 2 goals early. Plain, Jacobson, Exum, Richards, Stevens, Kelly, Nader. And then we move on to Port. Dowrick was huge throughout the game, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, except for the third. Houghton, Maloney, you can see here they all sort of did their role. Schultz was huge in the ruck. Gave away 1 too many free kicks. She had a -11 free kick differential, she would have been 86, and that would have just been huge. But, I mean, she did her job, absolutely dominating in the ruck. What was the hit-outs? 31 hit-outs to 22 in the end. She hit out the whole St Kilda side in herself. Then we moved. Tahu did alright, 2 goals for her. Phillips, it was funny. I responded to a tweet from someone, I think it was the Cousins Fantasy, or whatever, and basically said, yeah, Phillips seems to be that girl that just is there or thereabouts, but never actually getting the ball or tackles or something like that. Or rather, I'm probably paraphrasing or not even just summarizing that tweet terribly, so I'll actually bring up the tweet itself. Let me bring it up. Replies here, because it'll be in replies. Where is it? Here, let me see. Honestly feels like she best encompasses the there or thereabouts, but never getting the stats needed. Then they responded snag, because at this point she had actually kicked a goal to go from 48 points up to... She was on 48 with, I think, about 6 minutes to go. And then, that was just really funny that she scored about 23 in 5 minutes, and it was almost like a mini rocket occurred. So we'll take that. And she ended up 71. As I said in the intro to this video, looking to trade her out. So she just doesn't get the non-disposal points that are really necessary at the women's level, because there aren't many too big, like in the men's, there's not many big possession winners. Because of the shortened quarters, it's really hard to get possessions. So it seems like tackles and the women's game is sort of favoured towards tackles. Tackles are the best avenue to get points quickly. And Phillips just doesn't do that anymore, or didn't do that anywhere in the past. So, and her role isn't necessarily the greatest for ball winning, so high disposals. So she's just sort of teetering on the in and out line, I guess. Saint, Stewart, Foley and Ewings were really big late, so that was huge. 53 and 53. O'Day, Borg, and then no one else really matters too much. So hopefully that video comes out. This is recorded right at the time that the first one is going to be released for the day. As I stuffed up my recording schedule, because classic me, unorganized at some points. At some things like the recording schedule. But anyway, got through it, everything's going to be out on time, although I did have to record this when the other one was live, so I won't be able to respond to you guys as quickly, etc. But anyway, that's the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with the last three West Coast, Carlton, Collingwood, Gold Coast, which was a shock and set me a little bit down the fantasy ladder, and then Brisbane Swans, which was pretty predictable, to be honest. But anyway, I'll see you guys there. Bye, guys.